Do you want to do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come?
Alright, I'll do my own bits myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it.
Get off the road.
What's going on, Boater?
Hey Dave.
Hey, Boater.
What did the Snickers say to the Milky Way?
That's copyright infringement. I'll see you in court.
Did it hurt when you fell out of the vending machine? Because you're a snack. Hey everyone, welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast.
So which one's the cannibal now? I don't understand.
I don't know. I stole that from Jacksepticeye. Actually, it's his Reddit community. So. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast, the show of stolen jokes and stolen news topics.
What you keep making it sound like we act like these are our news stories on Nerd Glasses.
No, we don't.
Never once in our history have we ever.
We have done no original reporting on this show, although I would love if that changed.
Nor have we claimed that we're going to do
yes,
original reporting.
That's the thing.
Because how many free hours a week do you have to do insider information? Oh, and that's right around how much time I have to.
Yeah. I have done like one thing of semi-investigative journalism in my life when I was writing for a blog, and it was fun, but also not something that I can do on a regular basis. So I'm going to set these aside so I can snack on them during Citadel tonight. So, hi everybody, welcome to Nerd Glasses. I'm Butter.
I'm Dave Van.
And let's get started off by talking about some Twitch bans. Oh, right. Dave, do I have to?
I mean, Butter, every week we do this segment, and every week we seem to manage to find the stewiest of people. What's going on this week?
Hello, the Hauser. How's it going? Dave, I'm going to give you two different headlines that I found, and you tell me if you want me to continue.
Okay.
It's Pinky, banned for queefing for subs, and Mango banned for drunkenly humping anime figure.
So,
both of those are 3-day bans.
So Twitch doesn't like bodily functions being microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, like straight up, It's Pinky was like, oh yeah, I can do this on command. Here, check it out. Microphone there.
Yeah.
And a couple people were like, that was awesome. Sub. Encouraging her to do it again. And
I mean,
nice that you have a talent. I'm not shaming that. But again, Twitch standards very Puritan.
Read your guidelines, people. When you're collecting a paycheck from a service, you have to...
And Mango humping anime figure, but also drunkenly and intoxication on stream, like a little bit, like maybe a little tipsy. Twitch doesn't really mind, but if you're like plastered, Twitch is like, not with that, please, thank you. So, good evening, Akai. How's it going? We're done with Twitch bans. So, Dave, what's coming out this week? Actually, before you get to what's coming out this week,
yeah.
Game that we neglected to mention that came out last week, and that I only remember because it was on my Steam wish list, and I got that magical email saying, it's out now, is Mech Mechanics Simulator.
Very nice.
I've only played a couple hours of it so far. It is so far a very basic gameplay loop, but I can tell where they're going to add more stuff in. A mech drops into your shop, you take the arm off, you take off the bits and pieces to get to the broken piece, you pull it out, you buy a new one, or you scrub the rust off, or you weld it together, pop it back in, reassemble, ship it. It's basic as hell. And as long as you know that and that's what you're looking for, this is the same team that did Car Mechanics Simulator. a few years
Okay.
ago, which
Man,
I haven't
that
played.
game blew up too.
Yeah, yeah. So this being from a sci-fi angle, I'm always a fan of mechs. I look forward to them adding more mechs. Already, it shipped with like 7 or 8 in the game. But yeah, it's fun so far. So what's coming out this week?
So, I am really actually proud to see that
When it takes this long to get through a sentence,
if
I'm
you
intrigued.
own a Stadia, this really is your time. Because this is pretty much the only things that are coming out in the next week are big releases that have already been out for other people, but they're coming to the Stadia.
The past month and a half, we've had stuff finally making its way to like current gen systems, to the Switch, to the Series X, to the PS5 that was already out on previous systems. This week is the Stadia week.
So, in setting all that up, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that tomorrow on Windows you'll be able to play The Binding of Isaac. You're somebody that gives more of a crap about pronunciation of things. What's that?
Repentance.
Repentance. It's basically
Repent! The end
every
is nigh.
single bit of content that has been created for The Binding of Isaac is going to be bundled together.
Okay.
And Lord knows everyone loves bundle jobs. And so that'll be out for Windows tomorrow. A game that is announced that just caught my attention, a Square Enix title called Outriders.
Is that based on a book by any
It
chance?
seems to be intriguing boater, but I literally
There's a really
just...
good book that I read by that name. I think that's entirely coincidental. I don't think this is based on the book by Jay Posey. Doesn't seem like.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Nope. Okay.
Yep, so it is a
But still.
cooperative role-playing third-person video game
Ooh,
by
cool.
people can fly, and Square Enix's European subsidiary, and sci-fi third-person shooter. Didn't really light the world on fire in past iterations because
Right, because this is a game that's
Destiny
been
did it.
out. Yeah, this is a game that's been out. It says co-op. How is it? You can play co-op, or is it it must be played with another person?
That is a very good question, and one that I will have an answer for next week.
Momentarily next week. Poor Boater got all excited for a book game. Yeah. Hey, we're playing the dwarves on the Citadel tonight, talking about book games.
Well, Boater, I know you're so excited because the big thing that's coming to Stadia is going to be on the 1st. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it really
Yes, it will be.
on April 1st?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I truly
Sorry, Stadia.
believe that Outriders and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard were scheduled on April 1st, and no one at the companies, being that it's Capcom and Square Enix, have any idea about April Fool's Day or give a rip about it.
Those aren't companies that traditionally make waves with announcements on April Fool's Day.
Nope. They are used in other companies.
Yes.
Like, oh, we're adding 2B to Smash Bros. Like, you know, that's not necessarily Nintendo saying that, but they retweet some things.
Yeah.
And then next Tuesday, keep an eye out for Oddworld Soulstorm coming for Windows, PS4, and PS5.
Is that Oddworld Soulstorm or Snowstorm or Snow Soulstorm? You kind of tripped on
Well,
it.
I mean, pointing out my verbal gaffe there. Thank you
Storm.
much. Soulstorm. And then Star Wars Republic Commando
Okay, cool.
coming out for the Nintendo Switch and the
Ooh.
PlayStation 4. A remaster, but not a remake.
It's still Republic Commando is a game that's like at least 15 years old and has
Indeed.
a lot of respect. So nice.
It'll be good times for a lot of the games coming out. Looking greatly forward to them.
Nice. Yeah. Again, it is all kind of re-release and remaster type stuff. What time of the year, what part of the year do you think that we're going to start getting into something that's like actually fresh again, like big releases that a lot of people are going to be psyched about?
November.
Really?
I think November is when we're gonna.
You don't think there's going to be like, for some reason, I feel like May sometimes has a few like AAA bangers.
I mean, end of April, like we're getting the new Pokemon Snap at the end of April.
Yep.
MLB The Show, which seasonal sports title, but that one's also coming out.
I think like the main game release windows that we see are February for stuff that was pushed back from holiday.
Yes.
Late spring, so like late April into May. There's somewhere in the summer, I think like June or July, sees a bit of a spike in releases.
Yeah.
You get some like September for the back to school crowd, and then you get holiday. So I think there's like 4 or 5 bits where it's a game release season. Obviously,
Dragon
holiday is the biggest. But...
Yeah. Oh yeah. Demon Dragon pointing out that Resident Evil Village is going to be coming out May 7th.
Yep. She mentioned that to me. So happy birthday to me, a Resident Evil game that I won't play because I don't play Resident Evil unless I get suckered into it on the weekend Wednesday. Dave, I can't wait for that.
I'm looking greatly forward to...
I'm saying I can't wait to just bum around with you on the weekend Wednesday some nights.
Well, you can always in chat as well.
Absolutely I can in chat. It was Sundave, actually. I enjoyed popping in at the beginning of Sundave after my own stream and seeing you playing Rocksmith. Especially that first song where you forgot to switch to the game, so it was just twang, twang, twang.
I wish you saw the first song of the stream. It was one of the technically tougher ones.
Oh, okay.
That I know on bass pretty well. If you know the band Muse at all, you know that it's a 3-piece. The bass player is quite good, and there are certain sections of the game that I'm good, but I don't stretch my hand out that far on the neck. But it was a lot of fun. And by the way, funny enough, we're not talking about how Insane Games TV got a Twitch ban because when you follow the guidelines for things, bad things don't happen to you.
Yep, that VOD was deleted immediately after broadcast. We asked people please to not clip anything, so it's fine.
How easy.
How
simple.
There's rules, you follow them. Okay, let's talk about some stuff that happened. So GPUs are pretty hard to come by. Graphics cards are hard to come by. There's a global semiconductor shortage. It's affecting all sorts of industries from gaming. Like, new consoles are still scarce because they're relying on that. It's affecting the auto industry. It's everywhere. Almost every auto manufacturer has backlogs because of the semiconductor shortage. Add to this that like actual manufacturing is behind on graphics cards, and that a lot of people trying to buy graphics cards are cryptocurrency miners and not gamers. So again, the more I hear about crypto and the more I think about it and how bad it is for the environment and how energy intensive it is, I just get more and more upset. But
it's just really funny that literally nobody is happy about any part of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
There is no one, even the people who are mining it, they're not happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So graphics cards are hard to come by. And that affects not just the end user, but also boutique services that create PCs that they then sell to people.
Yeah.
And so Fierce PC has decided that they are selling a line of PCs. Not all of their PCs, but they're selling a line that does not have a GPU. It's got the processor, it's got RAM, it's obviously got like the power supply and motherboard case and blah, 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 blah. No graphics card. They did not state that it is because of the graphics card shortage. They said you can order this and you can put your pre-existing graphics card straight into it, plug and play.
Oh,
which
God.
is also true. If you have a graphics card that is still good, then that shit is gold and you keep it when you get a new PC. But yeah, this is Fierce PC. They're based out of the UK. And yeah, they have a product line now where they're just not selling GPUs with the console. Oh, sorry, with the computers, which is smart, honestly. Like, if it's going to cost you, if it's going to be $400, for a mid to high level graphics card to drop in there, advertise a lower price PC and say, look, if you're shopping with us, you already have a computer of some sort. your graphics card is probably fine, even if it's not the latest and greatest. Here. And they do still sell, and if you do need to upgrade your graphics card too, well, then we also sell those with these sets over here.
The ones that they have available, or, hey, to get on the wait list for,
Yes, yeah, or get on the wait list. I'm still on a wait list at B&H for throttle and stick joystick for playing Squadrons. And because at one point I thought mine was broken, and it sort of is, but I was able to work around it.
Yeah.
And every 2 weeks I get an email, we haven't forgotten about you, we don't have it.
I mean, that is one of the good and bad of companies, larger size companies, is they can offer a la carte services like that, where it's like, hey, you already have a good one. Yeah. We're not going to put it in there and insult you. You can pay for the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Very clever spin. Very clever spin.
Yeah, and like instead of being on a wait list or paying a premium for getting the one graphics card that we are trying to get for our things, you can do that hunt yourself. It's PCIe, whatever. Drop it in and go.
Enjoy fighting people in online lobbies for a new one.
My graphics card at this point, like, it was mid to high tier. It was maybe like 2 steps down from the best when it was first bought in, I want to say, 2016. So it's getting on to 5 years old. It's fine, but like Mech Mechanic Simulator that I mentioned earlier, for some reason, really graphically intense and plays a little laggy.
Ooh.
So, like, it's getting to the point that maybe I should replace my graphics card. I'm not going to try to do it right now because you're going to pay, like, plus 50% MSRP.
Man, not to tangent, but I've really enjoyed that in the store.
No, Dave, no tangents ever.
People have been coming in to this store, this business. Do you sell Pokemon cards? I can't find them anywhere. And I need them for my children, and they gesture to no one standing with them. And it's like, oh yeah, you're definitely not just going to flip those on the internet like some sort of fuckwit. Like,
send them to Northshire Bookstore. They're aside from trying to get them off the shelves at like Target or something.
I kick them around to all the places, all the big box stores and other places that I know that sell them. But man alive, if people could just cool it with, hey, I can make a living selling these secondhand. Relax. It's not the end of the world. You're going to be able to get off your couch soon if you just keep doing what we're supposed to be doing. And then you can stop buying up all the things that people want and trying to make a living off of them. I really hope you got a friendly credit card interest on all the things you're buying, because between GPUs, Series X's, PS5s, all the Pokemon cards,
it's interesting because first off, we're not out of the woods yet. People are going out before they should. I think we're starting to look at a 4th wave. But once it gets to the point where people can casually socialize, casually go out, whatever, I think that we are going to see a drop in value for some of these things. Like that secondhand market, it's not going to completely dry up, not for a while. But I do think that the stay-at-home economy will shift, and that's going to be interesting to watch.
Boy, is it going to suck when those people realize over the summer that nobody buys consumer electronics over the summer because they're not at their house. They're at their vacation house, and they don't want expensive high-end things for a house they're at 3 months of the year.
Anyway, I lived through the Beanie Baby crash, so, I mean, like, your stuff will be worthless. Deal. Okay, what else we got?
Well,
I know you've got a massive amount of topics kind of sitting in your back pocket. Let's burn through a few of those.
In gaming related, but also sports related news, I'll just read the title of the article because it caught my attention at SB Nation. How a Call of Duty player accidentally leaked an NFL trade.
Go on.
Terribly interesting, but a streamer, a Reddit user by the name of Probation Officer posted this. And I quote, "Very random as I'm a Packers fan. I was just playing Warzone with randoms, ended up with a female teammate. She had her mic on and I could hear her husband talking in the background about a deal. Then something was said about he would love to play in Pittsburgh. I tried to ask the girl for info, but she felt a bit awkward when I asked if she would tell me who her husband was. All she could say was that her husband was being loud in the background and that he's an NFL player. Anyways, he currently plays in Chicago. Then he puts a parentheses. I did look up her gamer tag, which is linked to her Twitch and Instagram. She's wearing a lot of Bears gear in some of the pics. Okay. The last thing I heard was that if no one else calls within the next 30 minutes, he's going to sign a 3-year deal in order to facilitate the trade because he would love to be in Pittsburgh. I know it's a big speculation, but I heard what I heard.
Interesting.
So, that was posted by a probation officer on Reddit.
Don't have loud phone conversations that should be confidential around people with microphones.
Then it actually happened.
Okay.
That player went from the Bears to
Wow.
And so people were tweeting at Mrs. Tally C or at Tally, the streamer in question whose husband is on the NFL.
Okay.
And you heard it here first, this and that and the other. The player's agent said, didn't specifically said, but he did shout out and link her Twitch and her Instagram saying such great gaming and so many interesting things you can hear on Tally C's streams and things like that.
Oh, the things you'll hear.
Yeah, Rashad Coward started 16 games for the Bears in 2020. And it's known the team will not be re-signing him. But that really caught my attention that hot mics capture so much.
Yeah, that's neat. And I mean, nobody got in trouble from that. It wasn't oh, well, they shouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
And lost out on the deal or anything. No, it's they were cool with it.
It's just literally, nice. And I mean, it's good. It also
I'm
shows...
always primed for the other shoe to drop. And it's no, it's nice. Let things be nice.
I'm glad that it was. That's part of the reason that it caught my attention was NFL trades and things. They can get ruined by whims.
Yeah.
One coach can be eating flapjacks one morning. I know I'm not the sports people. Tune in for all the other content here on Insane Games TV. They were not having waffles today. We're not doing the trade, and they just storm off.
Who would people listen to if they wanted to hear more about sports topics?
Why, they should tune in on Mondays to the No Look podcast with AC Wheezy and Tyler. And they should definitely tune in for Thirsty Thursdays and Monday Night Gaming with AC Wheezy as well, because I know that they do a lot of sports chatter, things like that. Wednesdays, the Dream Team also do some sports talk during football. They did a lot of comprehensive coverage of our store's fantasy football league. And then behind the counter, we throw out some sports talk on Mondays.
Everyone knows you can't do a trade without waffles.
Exactly.
Waffles, ho!
Where's my trade, Waffles?
It's like the whole having a bag of Skittles with all the green ones removed in your rider. Just to do a trade, I need waffles.
I need the player to present me with a box of Eggo waffles. Huh? No other reference, just need the Eggo waffles to be handed to me.
I haven't had Eggo waffles in forever, my god. Okay, so Magic the Gathering. As we did mention trading cards a little bit back.
Yes.
Magic the Gathering has a new set coming out in April called, can I read my italicized handwriting? Strixhaven School of Mages.
Mm-hmm.
As with any release, there's a lot of people looking at the cards ahead of time, looking at the art, looking at the gameplay mechanics, everything like that. And people noticed something funky with one of the cards for the art.
Really?
In Crux of Fate, the art being done by Jason Felix, it was found to have had stolen artwork from someone on DeviantArt named Kit LaPena. The original artwork depicts a Magic the Gathering character, and it made its way into the card.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely wholesale ripped off. It might be redrawn, but it has all the same folds of skin, whatever. The torso is redone differently because that's where the DeviantArt watermark was.
Yeah.
So they had to redraw that. But this ended up being Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast. You guys noticed this? And Wizards of the Coast did notice. and they say that they are suspending future work with Jason Felix until we have been able to bring this matter to a successful conclusion. End quote, which I didn't write down. And it especially stings because Kit LaPena, whose art was stolen, has in the past submitted his portfolio to Wizards of the Coast to work on Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Boo asshole stealing art. And actually, this is something that happens in multiple industries.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about it a little bit. So Demon Dragon, you've probably been in the room a couple times when I've watched Eckhart's Ladder talking about this in Star Wars. Let's say a new Star Wars source book comes out, or there's art for a new novel coming out, and it turns out that that one piece of art is stolen wholesale from someone who did fan art of, say, a certain Star Destroyer or a ground transport or something like that. And, I mean, what happens usually is that the artist Googles the character or that Star Destroyer or whatever for reference, finds a good-looking picture, and then just draws that. Because they're doing so many things that they're not going to come up with a brand new pose, whatever, each time. They are doing as many cards as they can, as quick as they can, so they get paid as fast as they can. So I understand how it happened. They thought that this was official art. Well, no, it's on DeviantArt. But a lot of the times, people think, oh yeah, this shot of a Star Destroyer is official art, and they'll just use that. So there was a question. I found this on Kotaku. Actually, hat tip to my sister for posting it. To Rafe Wolf for posting it. And there was a question in the comments as to, well, yeah, but that character is owned by Wizards of the Coast, so they can use it, right? The answer is no.
Well, you can't use their specific art of Nicol Bolas.
Yes.
But you can use, like, it's the same idea of, I can draw Nicol Bolas as much as I want because it's but they can't then take my shitty scribbling of him and put it on a card.
Yes. So
without then paying me.
They have a trademark on that character, and that trademark lets them limit how it's used commercially.
Yeah.
So you can scribble that character out, and they can say, you can't sell that.
Yeah, perfect. Not good.
But you as the artist immediately have copyright to your work.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you have copyright doesn't mean that you can sell it because it's using trademark that's involved with something else.
Yes.
But like if I make a Star Wars lightsaber duel, and then Lucasfilm needs to fill up the background of a shot where someone is remembering a ton of lightsaber duels from the Jedi Order, and mine is in there without me having given any sort of permission or anything like that, that is illegal because that lightsaber duel was copyright me, even if it uses concepts that are trademark Lucasfilm. So, it's a thing that happens. And again, I understand how it happens, but that doesn't mean that it's not shitty. So good on Wizards of the Coast for deciding not to work with the guy. They do say until a successful resolution, so I don't know if that's going to be like paying this other guy and maybe scrapping the art for that card and redoing it. What I would love to see happen would be for them to contact the original artist, Kit LaPena, and say, hey, here's all the cards that Jason Felix did for this set. In the second reissue, we're going to take out all his art, and we want you to do them instead. That would be cool.
It would be.
They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't go that far.
That would also be a big ask, as an average Magic the Gathering set stands at 250 to 380 cards.
Yes.
And so they divide up chunks per artist to do, and that depends on what they do or things like that, and all that art has to get.
Yeah, so it's how many cards did Jason Felix do? Did he do 5? Did he do 30?
Yeah.
Did
he do lands? Did he do creatures? Did he do spells?
He's worked with Wizards for quite a while.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a fair amount that's in there. But at least, hey, we'd like you to redo the art on this card, at least. Especially because when you look at it, it looks like a bad Photoshop job. It's that character with another dragon. They're lit differently. They're not posed together correctly. The card's name is Crux of Fate, if you want to look it up. And it just kind of looks like poop, so...
Yeah, I was looking at the picture of Nicol Bolas.
Yeah,
and,
that looks like it's photoshopped onto the card. It's not even the same art style.
That's so interesting.
It's so bad.
Also, the Bolas on the left is better than... Why? Why?
So go ahead and paste that link in the chat, and I think we've said our piece on there. Don't steal other people's art. If you work for a company, you should be provided some sort of, like, honestly, companies that have a lot of people doing artwork for them on a very regular basis, they should have reference Bibles and say, these are what you can use. And again, they always need to make sure, if you use Google to look up more stuff, make sure that you do not use FanWorks, because we can and will sever ties with you. A ton of people want to do what you're doing. You do good stuff, but if you steal someone else's work to do it, you're out.
Easier for big businesses, though, just to not to centralize everything and just go, well, don't mess up. We'll see.
Well,
we'll
exactly.
See you in 3 weeks.
Well, that's exactly that. Like, I'm not saying that they should have that internal whatever, but when they hire an external artist, boom, here's the official materials. If you go outside of this, you're potentially on your own, and we could drop you like a bad habit. So maybe you should just stick to what's here. Anyway, if you subcontract, you're responsible for what they do still.
Well, yeah, that's why Wizards is stopping them.
Yes, exactly. So again, good on Wizards for not.
I'll be interested if the cards, because Strixhaven is coming out next month.
Yep.
I'll be interested in knowing that
there will definitely be a first edition of that set that still has all that art.
Yeah, those cards are probably in. So that they had this issue with the set that came out last May, which was a Godzilla set. Was very excited, but they had a card called Space Godzilla Death Corona. And they decided that they were going to pull versions of that card as much as they could, but the physical copies existed already.
Yes.
So those cards are floating out there. I'll be interested to see if those cards make it to market, or if they were in a special deck or bundle or thing that was able to be stopped before it got sent out.
Yeah, it's probably already been packed in a bunch of boosters and shipped out to
God,
retail.
if it is, make sure to grab some. See if you can meet him sometime. Get him to autograph him.
Yeah, and don't go to your local game store and buy them all up just trying to get the one card to flip and sell. Let the people who play the game get the cards.
I just want to play Magic.
Okay. Any other topics you want to hit on?
Oh, so there's a lot of things going on. So speaking of halting and stop production on, and one company kind of slamming on another. Have you heard of Steam database?
I have not.
Steam DM. It's basically a third-party company that gets metrics from Steam and other companies and says, hey, here are the most played games, the trending games, popular games, hot releases, things like that that are going on and things like that. And
yeah, just to kind of keep your thumb on the pulse of what's going on Steam.
So,
nice.
For example, if you're a streamer and you want to know, hey, what's the next game I should do if that's the way you tailor your content, not a bad way to do it.
You look at that and you see that new, oh gosh, I can't pronounce the name but like the new city builder game that I saw there, it's like Dorf something, it's in the next bit down for hot releases. Oh. But like, if you're like, hey, what's new this week? Dorf Romantic is like third on popular releases, second on hot releases.
Oh my god, it's like Catan and Age of Empires.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
It's a city building game, and it's doing really well. So hey, if that's something that you think would interest you, yeah, cool, pop that. So it's a useful tool.
So Sega said, hey, take Yakuza Like a Dragon off of your page in all the countries that you aggregate data from.
Why?
Because they are claiming they're illegally distributing game data and things like that, and potentially distributing pirated copies of the game through it.
SteamDB doesn't distribute anything, right?
There is sales, and so like you can check Steam sales and things like that.
But it patches in there, so I'm seeing current Steam sales. All it does is that it then just points you to Steam, and you go to the Steam store page whenever you click on any of the games at SteamDB. They aggregate it. They work as a separate search function if Steam's inbuilt
Ooh, it's still there.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say, is that I'm sure that SteamDB has made sure that they are well within Steam's EULA to do what they're doing. And Sega has no legal leg to stand on, because in listing their game on Steam, they agreed to their own terms of service and ways that listing would be used in the API, which SteamDB is then pulling from the API to make their pages. So it's still there, and that's my thoughts on it. I don't know what else there is in the story.
And so the person who makes StreamDB tweeted out, "Can anyone help me getting in touch with Sega? Their lawyers are trying to take down Yakuza Like a Dragon's SteamDB page, claiming that we distribute the game. I took the page down because they didn't reply to the first abuse report and sent a new one to our hoster." So it's back up since then.
Yeah, so at the time, actually go up. At the time, they did take it down. I guess things got worked out with the lawyers, whatever. They realized that there was nothing the lawyers could do, because at the time it was taken down with a note that said, "This page was taken down because Sega is claiming we distribute their game here. Parentheses, we don't." Which has very strong energy, like when Valve responded to Apple trying to get them to do stuff. Acting like we compete in their market. We don't, kind of thing.
So they didn't get any response from Sega, and they've re-added the page, as you can see, by searching on it. And it's just always funny that Nintendo's been sending out a lot of DMCAs lately, but apparently Sega, they were like, "Us too!" Oh, wait.
Yeah, SteamDB gets at least one DMCA per year, but we were always able to quickly resolve it. Sega, on the other hand, just ignored any replies.
That's hysterical.
It's most likely a simple mistake made by someone overzealous at Sega. That happens a lot. People are like, "Oh, we don't like that. Send out a thing," and without actually checking to see if they're in the legal right. Meanwhile, their PR department goes, "No! Stop it! You're making my job harder.
You're making this so much more complicated than it needs to be."
I am public relations for Sega. Do you know how fucking hard this job is?
What do you mean you're making another Sonic cartoon?
90% of my job is reminding people that we exist. And then 10% of my job is reminding them that we exist to do good things, not what you're trying to do.
90%
And then 10% of my job is reminding them that we do stuff other than Sega, and the last 10% is learning how to do math.
The good percentage of my job is spent reminding people, no, we weren't always owned by Mario. Thanks for coming. So, I do on the back end here have some shutdowns and delays that are happening.
Let's hit them quick.
My summer is unfortunately already ruined because the game that I was looking greatly forward to having a full copy of, Turtle Rock's Back for Blood, a sequel and spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead franchises, as made by the company that made the first Left 4 Dead.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Game, unfortunately, Turtle Rock announced that, hey, we're not rushing this little piggy to market. So the open beta is still going to happen this summer, but it will not get released until October.
Okay.
Crushed my soul. However, I will definitely enjoy the beta of that. I can't wait to see it. The game looks amazing. It looks as I would want. Hey, this game is going to be like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
I know I talked about it at length when it was announced at one of the Game Awards, at the Game Awards actually. So glad to hear that Turtle Rock, although their microtransaction-y ways are still pretty evident, even in the current page for Back 4 Blood. They're going to be doing good to this game, because if it fails, it's failing under the weight of its own expectations.
Hey Dave.
Yes.
Crash Bandicoot 4. That's a single-player game that just came out on PC somewhat recently.
Oh, yeah.
And people weren't able to play over the weekend. You know why? Because
so did they patch it and there was like a bad a bad bug, and then like it made like a start file not happen?
No. It just wouldn't start because even though it's a single player game, it still needs to go through Blizzard's login servers, which were down.
No. Stadia owners, listen closely.
This, of course, resulted in a spike of pirated copies of Crash Bandicoot 4, so that people could play the game they'd already paid for.
Oh god, that's so good.
And all I can say is, it's about time!
So, on some...
That's the subtitle of the game.
On some unfortunate looking forward, and especially for here at Insane Games, something that we're going to keep in mind looking forward is, as with any video game console generation, especially now that the internet has become so prevalent, Sony is announcing that they are shutting down the PlayStation Store for the PlayStation 3 and the PSP on July 2nd, 2021, and the PlayStation Network Store for the Vita in August. So, it does mean that you can re-download and play previously purchased games and videos, and you can still redeem games with the PlayStation Plus vouchers. But you will not be able to buy in-game purchases, things like that, and you will not be able to redeem points, PlayStation points, for anything going forward.
That's the unfortunate thing about digital consoles. Like, I can still go and buy Mech 2 for my original Xbox. When a store page comes down for a console that is digital only, and like the Vita is a really nice piece of hardware, I still stand the PSP Go, but like, you know, you won't be able to get new games on them. It's just what you got on your little console there.
Yeah.
And if you want to get into the PS Vita, you're not going to be able to get anything for it. You can maybe use it as a companion screen with the PS4 on some games. I've never really tried that out too much. But
the Vita is a lot of fun. You can use it as a PS4 controller. It can play the PS4 through itself. It's as a second screen. And many other features. Those will still be available, but as a standalone console, its shelf life online is coming to an end.
Yeah.
But by the way, because I get this question a lot at the store, predominantly this is done because they're no longer going to be protecting the data that's online. So instead of leaving it there for people just to data mine and steal, they're just going to shut it down so it no longer exists.
Yeah.
And they're not paying for servers that maybe 20 people use a month.
Yeah, it's costs. It's that it costs more than the money that they were making from it. And then sometimes, it is privacy things because those, like the store for those has your payment information in it, has your personal information, and if they're not going to continue their protection of the privacy, if they're not going to keep doing their things, they need to delete it. In an interesting thing where a YouTuber that I follow named Tom Scott, as well as Matt Gray, they made a social media network called Emojily, where you could only speak in emoji. After a year, they decided that they weren't going to renew for another year. They did not want to put more money into it because they weren't making any money on it, and they would run out of time to, continue doing things. But like they had to do all the compliance for privacy, whatever, and they needed to actively delete everything on there, before they stopped paying for the server. Otherwise, that data was there.
Good that we haven't had in the last decade a major service fail to do that. Like where like they just moved on to the next thing and just totally forgot about over here. Good.
I mean, there have been data breaches, but that's been on active databases and stuff. Not that someone threw on a hard drive into a drawer and forgot about, and then someone grabbed from the drawer and was like, well, looky here. Dave, we have some rolled up pieces of paper in front of us. Do you want to tackle these?
Sure.
Maybe we'll each, I don't know. So those of you that weren't here last week, we started doing a feature that I guess we're going to call the hat trick, even though we're not pulling them from a hat.
This week.
On these pieces of paper are fictional news topics. So, the last 5 to 10 minutes of the podcast, we are now entering the fiction zone. Everything that we talk about is BS. Dave and I have just swapped paper. I've written a couple things for him. He's written a couple things for me. And we're just going to wing it and make up news stories. Starting with me, based on... So this actually makes sense. So in Smash Brothers, they're always adding people from different... always adding people from different franchises.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the whole 2B from Square Enix being added, whatever. If you were to add someone from Kingdom Hearts, who would you add? Like Sora or something like that? No. How about
Donald. I would add Donald so people would hate on him.
Mickey Mouse being added to Smash Brothers, which I think is really like. It's nice, kind of like leaning into it because you do Mickey from Kingdom Hearts, and that kind of pushes people a little more towards Kingdom Hearts that weren't there yet. Whereas if you throw in Sora, they're like, too many zippers. I'm scared. I never want to approach this thing.
Although people are going to be mad because he is yet another sword fighter. And no one's ever happy with that. Boater, in recent news, a press release was leaked. Always make sure to shred your documents, especially when you go to these conferences and things. Ubisoft at it again because they've decided the name has become a bad word. Ubisoft has become a little hot.
Okay.
They're going to be changing their name to Webisoft. It's going to be a lot friendlier. They might even have some crossover with the Aflac Duck. We don't know. The press conference junket was not very descriptive about it. But, they're really looking forward to putting the past gaffes and boobing it up behind them with Webisoft.
That's, is that Webisoft? Like, is it, like, inclusive, or I don't know.
Unfortunately, the press release had an enormous coffee ring on it, and it just kind of covered up half the information. But for now, that's what we have.
Dave, do you want to hear something awful?
Yes.
When I wrote that out, I actually took it from actual news that Volkswagen has a press release that was originally slated for late April, supposedly leaked, that they are renaming to Volkswagen in honor of their focus on electric vehicles. That is... As of this moment, Volkswagen is swearing that is the God's honest truth. Meanwhile, we're all just looking at April Fool's Day in 2 days.
Now, Volkswagen had a lot of controversy and a lot of trouble, so a rebrand for them would not necessarily be all that bad of an idea.
Volkswagen is people's car, basically. Volkswagen means nothing. On Jalopnik, which is where I get a lot of my auto news, they're like, if they actually go through with this, if April 2nd comes around and they're like, no, just kidding, we're all going to get Volkswagen tattoos. Get the fuck out. Recore 2 in development? Okay, no, I need to actually say something about it. Okay, Dave, so, it's not uncommon for a game that gets a mixed reception to get a second chance. Mirror's Edge kind of had a mixed reception, and years later came up with Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yeah.
Had another stab at it. Now, whether Catalyst was better or worse than the first one, we'll see. But Dave, I cannot wait to have you over at my house and in the basement playing Recore 2. Or as it's tentatively titled, Recore. But with that, like, RE : thing, I don't know that title is going to stick around. It's looking like it's going to take Jewel and her band of merry mechs and go to another planet rather than New Eden because they already kind of did everything they could in that boring beige wasteland. So...
Perhaps it'll be a green planet where your goal is to turn it back to dust and shit. Civilization here has gone too well. F this, F that, and F you in particular.
I hope there's a hidden stage where you play as Violet.
That's the whole game. It's just Violet unplugging people's phones at night to inconvenience them throughout their day.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, go watch Boater Plays Something Recore. Dave and I had a great time despite the game playing through it. It's on my YouTube channel.
Boater and I had fun hanging out. Recore was played, but
Recore was in the backseat for the ride.
That was inconsequential.
Volkswagen is where you put unruly children on a walk.
So, many calls to action have been put out to get people excited for an idea, to call people to gather for a cause, to make people excited for something. But recent casting agents have been getting a very non-traditional casting call piece. It's actually a remaster of a remake, a retouching of a newspaper of an article that was in a lot of games journalism way back when, and it just says John Romero's back to make you his, and in that announcing, with saying that, it can lead to only one thing, Boater, that somehow, some way, John Romero's game Daikatana has generated enough underground interest where there's potentially going to be a movie. My guess, God, looking at it, is it's going to be a Netflix one.
Okay.
Netflix really, they lean on the side of the...
They go for the slightly more niche stuff.
and then they
do a good job of exploding it out into general whatever.
Yes.
So I could see the movie way outweighing that terrible game.
If you don't know what Daikatana is, don't worry about it, because it was a game that was crushed under its own expectations.
Daikatana was supposed to come out in 95, I think. It came out in 98, it came out in 2000 or 2001, when Half-Life had already done everything that would have made Daikatana revolutionary.
It's so unfortunate that Romero was not able to get this game out in time, because if he were able to, it would have been, it would have been the one people reference instead of
Half-Life. I played it once. And actually, if you look back through, again, I'll point to my YouTube channel. If you look back through stream highlights from St. Jude at one point, we've referenced that twice in one of our Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion playthroughs. I played it once, and I feel like it would be a perfect game for the Citadel because it is so bad.
It's so unfortunate that it came out right before a console generation turned over, and then it was released on the older... Oh, God, Romero. Thank God for crowdfunding and things nowadays that support developers and creators, unlike back then when it was out of your own pocket and on your own time.
And back then, first-person shooters were often referred to as Doom clones.
Yes.
And you could find those not only on PC, but you could find games like that kind of as arcade cabinets that you would play in an arcade, but also some of them found their way into Pizza Hut. Now, when I was younger, I remember going to Pizza Hut and there was a bowling arcade machine in there that was just a fixture there. I never saw anyone actually playing it, but I would stand there transfixed by it while waiting for a table, because we used to eat at the restaurant at Pizza Hut, kids. That's the olden days, where you get the red plastic cups and anyway. And so sometimes some restaurants had what were at the time called Doom clones there. And there's some interest in bringing those back. Not just first-person shooters, whether they're going to bring back those classic arcade cabinets or bring back what you might find at Dave and Buster's with a shooter like that. But there's been some ideas of, I mentioned Dave & Buster's, to kind of take Pizza Hut and make the dine-in experience a little more like that, to make arcade gaming a bit more there instead of just a bowling machine in the corner. So, Pizza Hut, whatever you gotta try, go for it. I wish you the best of luck. maybe don't do Daikatana though. I
I'm
keep
actually,
missing. I'm getting so close. I'm
I
trying to hit
find
the
that
camera.
really interesting that's so the topic that I gave Boater was Doom clones are returning to being distributed by Pizza Hut. If you remember,
You said returning to Pizza Hut. I
Yeah.
actually don't know what that's referring to at all.
so so what happened was Microsoft really liked Doom a lot.
Yeah.
But you can't put Doom on everyone's home PCs. The people will have a fucking they'll blow it.
Yeah.
But Chex and like Pizza Hut and a bunch of these companies had reskins of Doom.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, where it was like, it was basically like Bible Adventures was a Doom clone where they reskinned over it. Wolfenstein was technically a Doom clone where
Wolfenstein predates Doom.
well, yes, so sorry. But there was a Wolfenstein Doom clone made.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because that's one of the ones I was first exposed to, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. But there were like, you could get like math shooter in things, and like you even got a specialized version of Doom on some Windows PCs where Bill Gates himself appeared in the game with a shotgun.
Oh my god.
So I'm actually really excited that that story took two different routes, and it's awesome. Way to go, Pizza Hut! For bringing back the in-home arcade experience. Expect to see a lot of me and not Claire. Claire, I'm off to meet Boater at the arcade.
Wow. And then actually, let's see. There's
You want to hit the other two from?
Yes, we've got a couple that were distributed into the Nerdglasses Discord channel. So we're gonna do these two and then call it an end because I do have the Citadel coming up after this. Is there a particular one of those that you want?
You take whichever one tickles your fancy, and I'll do the other one.
Okay, so Untitled Goose Game, when it was announced, was just titled Untitled Goose Game. They were planning on giving it a title, but everyone responded to Untitled Goose Game so much. It had that raw, chaotic energy.
Yeah.
But House has decided that as it's coming up on its, I think, second anniversary of the game being out, and the first anniversary of the physical releases of the game, that they are finally going to give it a title. It is called, their title is going to be Titled Goose Game, the Prequel. So not only have they finally titled it, they are also announcing a second Goose Game. Like, they didn't say, hey, we're going to do another Goose Game. They just said that the prequel.
That's a pretty heavy gauntlet for House to throw down.
Yeah.
Much respect for the effort and the much in character Goose way of doing that.
Yeah, exactly. They needed to keep chaotic, and they did it.
Honk.
Honk.
So, Boater, there's been a lot of controversy about
Dave, I didn't know what title I was going to come up with until about 3 words before I said it.
Loved it. Bravo. So, Grand Theft Auto 6, it's been fabled. It's been long talked about. Yeah. Rockstar has said it's not coming out anytime soon. But we're getting an announcement on April 1st. And it's called... It's called Grand Theft Auto Florida Stories. And it is going to be a creation of on the caliber of a Vice City, a San Andreas, a GTA 5. It's going to be the state of Florida, and then every single living trope that can possibly be about Florida, and they're going to keep flashing in DLC and events based upon headlines happen that titled under Florida Man.
I want them to have like one of those like slot machine type things where they just feed it's procedurally done.
Yes.
Where it's like Florida Man verb eats thing crocodile egg place in the lavatory of a 747.
So then you,
And then that's your mission, and you gotta do it.
That's the storyline mission for you.
You gotta get your crocodile egg, go into the Everglades, get it. Then you gotta go and book a flight out of Orlando, go up to Tallahassee, get your ass into the lavatory, and nom nom nom.
That'll be so much fun. Unfortunately, they actually even Rockstar has announced that they are going to be keeping a very, very tight lid on the online play, as even the creators of Grand Theft Auto think that Florida is a bit much.
Yeah, let's not give actual Floridians any ideas. Otherwise, we're gonna have like 20 of them going into the Everglades.
Do you have any faux topics that you want to see us shoot on? Do you have any game topics that you think were very interesting? Things like that. Down below is a link to Discord. There is a Nerd Glasses section. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear about your passions, your likes, your wants, your whims, your fears, maybe.
Yep. If you see something in gaming news that looks really cool and you want to hear our thoughts on it, please let us know. If you come up with some random prompt like Idiolect did in Discord for us this past week, drop it in. Let us know. Yeah, and because we enjoy talking about news and stuff that comes out, and we've really enjoyed entering the fiction zone these past few weeks, and I really want to keep doing that. So, in the meantime, don't go anywhere like I just did. These roll so smoothly.
Don't change that dial, ladies and gentlemen.
Because after the Nerd Glasses podcast is the Citadel, where I will continue playing the Dwarves. First night that I played this, I wasn't overly impressed with it. Its gameplay felt a little lacking. It felt a little bare bones. But I went home and I went to bed saying, what's going to happen? As always, the plot is what hooked me, which it's based on a book that did quite well, so that's not too surprising. So yeah, the Dwarves coming up on the Citadel. What's going to happen, of course, is that we are going to go offline at the end of the Nerd Glasses podcast. Feel free to go up, go to the bathroom, grab some popcorn, because after those 5 minutes, we're going to let the 10-minute countdown go, and we'll be back on a road trip playing the Dwarves. And you better make sure you go to the bathroom before the road trip, because we're not stopping this car for nothing. Unless I need to go get another candy bar. But I got a couple right here from the joke at the start, so... Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the Nerd Glasses podcast. I've been Boater.
I've been Dave Mann.
And we will see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. Make sure that you are following us for that and for all the other great content right here at Insane Games TV. Bye, everybody.